Hey YouTube, it's your girl Razia J, and I am back with another video. So guys, I really wanted to post this video. I have other videos that were scheduled to go out tonight, but I just could not let my other videos go out without really sitting down and dealing with how I am feeling about a particular situation. If you can see from the title of this video is really going to be my honest, sincere thoughts behind the ASWB and all the things that we have uncovered, even though these were things that we knew already. But now that they are facts and they are printed and they are solidified, it hits a little bit different. So guys, if you are new to my channel, welcome. This video is going to be very different. It's not going to be something that I usually share on my channel, but as a social worker, especially in the macro space, I am understanding more and more the importance of saying something. Silence oftentimes can be perceived as acceptance, and that is not the case. As many of you guys know, I graduated with my degree in social work May 24th, 2022 from Fordham University, a very good school, and I feel like the education that I got there was phenomenal. But after graduation, or a little bit before graduation, I started to study for the licensure in my state to get my LMSW. And although I am going down a macro path and I don't necessarily need to be licensed, I wanted to do it for me. And the closer I got to graduation, the more I started to hear about the standardized testing and how licensure and the ASWB. But I really wanted to share this video of why I believe that the ASWB needs to either be stopped or needs to be dismantled and restructured for the safety of the profession. And the reason why I say the safety of the profession is because on August 5th, 2022, the ASWB released a report on their statistics. And I'll insert the statistics somewhere in this video, like a picture of it. And it was harmful to many social workers, those that are licensed, that are unlicensed, those who have been attempting to get licensed. It has been harmful. And the reason why it was harmful is because of the stats and the large gap that was seen in certain population groups when it comes to testing and, in their words, eventually passing. And I think when we first saw the report, everyone was so gung-ho on that eventually passing number. And my heart started to break because I was like, they're really just trying to mess with us when it comes to wordplay, because they know that first-time test-taking stats would really blow the cover off of the roof. So they're giving us this pacified version, and not saying that that information is not provided within the report, but what they shared as like the here you go was this eventually passed. And eventually could mean a lot of things. It can mean people that are passing on the 15th try. It could mean people that are passing on the first try, and anywhere in between or above that, right? And as a new social worker, I just started to feel the same pressure I felt when I decided to delay my test. Not because I'm not a good standardized test taker, I am. But I was hearing things like, you have to think like a white person. I'm Black. You have to think about ways that are not practical to the social work profession. And as a social worker, and a fresh one at that, I'm like, why would you want me to consider thinking in a non-social work way to pass an exam that licenses social workers? Shouldn't this exam be very practical to the work that we do? And first of all, why am I paying $296 after I paid over 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 30, 90, 100K to get my degrees in social work? Like, why is there even a licensure at the master's level is mind blowing to me, right? While I was a student, Illinois decided that they were going to do away with the LMSW. Like, you don't have to take a test to get licensed at the master's level. A master's level social worker is just that, a social worker that completed graduate courses and got a degree in social work. That should be enough. That should suffice to make you a master's level social worker. And now if you want to pursue clinical practice, I do believe like there are mental health practitioners that need to get licensed. LMHCs, LPCs, LMFTs, everyone has to be licensed in their state. And I do believe that plays a part. But I think when it comes to professional licensure, it is a systematic approach to keep people in certain populations, primarily those in the BIPOC, Latinx population, from progressing. And social work is one of those professions where a lot of us are called to social work because of the things that we have been through in our own lives and our deep-rooted passions behind helping people that are just like us, not having to go through the same trauma that we had to endure and learn from so that they can have a better chance at life. Yet, many of us can't even get licensed to help people. And when this report first came out, I was on my way to Delaware and I really was just unsettled. But I didn't really have the words besides that this is effed up and somebody got to do something. And I remember my job, and disclaimer, I do work for the NASW, but I am not the voice of the NASW. I do not believe everything that the NASW put out there. I have my own view sets, and although I am grateful for my opportunity and this job that I have, I am still a person who has her own viewpoint. So before you guys meet me in my DMs or in the comments down below or email me saying that, oh, I work for the NASW, I shouldn't be saying certain things. The ASWB is harmful to social workers. Listen to me very clearly. Harmful. I was preparing to take my test in the next 2 months. And after this report came out, I started to panic at my own ability to cognitively sit down for this test in 4 hours and pass it on the first try. And I really had to stop myself from going into this panic attack of, am I good enough? And then doing listening sessions for my job, and then attending the one that I attended on Friday with Kim Young really pissed me off, because there are many social workers who are literally spending thousands of dollars to take this exam just to fail it, just to hear like, oh, you're off by 1 point or you're off by 5 points. And I can't imagine being a social worker, working in this field, knowing that I'm trying to do good work and not being able to get job opportunities, promotions, raises, you name it, because I cannot get licensed, because the test was created to keep me down. And I know a lot of people are going to start to say like, well, the CEO is a black woman. I don't care who the CEO of the ASWB is at this current moment. One person does not change a show. One person does not change what is going on in real time. Although Dr. Stacy Hardy Challenger, Dr. Stacy Hardy Challenger is now the new CEO, she also took that position in July. So these stats were not formulated in 1 month, and she's probably going to have to do a lot of legwork to deal with the repercussions that are going to come from the communities that are outraged. And for me personally, like, I was sitting in listening sessions and hearing people say real things about how this exam really crushed their souls, how it caused them to really consider pivoting out of this career, how it caused them to think like, am I not good enough to be a social worker? Is the work that I'm really doing in the community not good enough? Do I not know what I'm doing? And that hurts. And I just want to pull up my calculator real quick, right? if someone says that they failed this test 15 times, and every time you fail this test, you have to pay, that is $279 times 15. And that is this amount. This is how much someone has paid. I hope it focuses. This is how much someone has paid to take this exam, $4,185 just in testing fees. That has nothing to do with like test prep, paying a tutor, buying books, and like the distress that you come from failing this test, especially if it's by 1 point. And as a new social worker, I am so frustrated that this profession has been here this long and no one is saying like something needs to change. Or if people are saying something needs to change, no one is really doing it. And honestly, it's time for social workers that look like me to say F the ASWB, stop the crap, and pivot into something that is beneficial for us as social workers. Like, I'm new to the profession and I know that I push and I advocate on this page for us to do the work. But right now I'm advocating for social workers and social work students to really take an inner look and say, am I advocating for this profession in the best way possible? Am I making sure that this profession is not hindering and isolating and keeping people from furthering their passion and their desire and their dreams to be certain type of social workers because of a test that is known to be systematically racist? Okay, like, this is not the first test that is created, right, to keep people down. Not every African American, not every Latina, not every indigenous person has the money and the resources to say that they can sit and take a standardized test, for one. And even more so, a standardized test that you're telling me to think like I am a freaking black. I'm not a black person, like I'm a white person. Yes, guys, I am back. I'm sorry about that little quick brief intermission, but I had to get to mommying. So back to what I was speaking about what the ASWB is doing and the damage that it's causing to certain social workers, and the importance of us as social workers to now start to not only advocate for our clients, but for ourselves and our profession. This is our profession. A test does not define you. So if you don't know, I know I've been mentioning the ASWB a lot in this video, but if you clicked on this video, I pray that you do have a little bit of background knowledge. But if you don't, I'm going to take some time to educate you really quickly. So the ASWB stands for the Association of Social Work Boards. And basically that is the board of social work that says and states on their website that they will support the profession and do ethical practice within the profession as our licensing board. It has been seen time and time again that that's not what's happening, right? To hear someone say that they failed this test by 1 or 2 points and then they have to go take it over, to hear people say that, oh, to pass this test, think like a white person. And the ASWB knows this, right? They know that this is being said about their exam, yet nothing is being done to rearrange the exam in a way where it is practical to the profession and also practical to the population of social workers that is not identified as cisgendered white women or white men, I should say. And honestly, we are coming out of a global pandemic, and COVID-19 did a number on people's mental health. And to just think about the disparities that we had in the Black and brown communities when it came to vaccines, access to great health care, access to resources, and the amount of loss that was seen within this particular community. And now knowing that a lot of Black and brown people are not going to end up with therapists who can identify, relate, have the cultural competency, or even look like them. And I know that we can say, let's just take another CEU on cultural competency, but there's nothing that you can learn as a person that is non-Black to teach you of the things that we went through, or the ways that we respond to trauma, or some of the trauma that we deal with. I'm a Haitian American, and even if you see on like Instagram, you'll see things about like trauma, Haitian trauma, right? Growing up Haitian and the traumatic experiences that we dealt with, right? Like having to kiss every adult when you entered into a room, or having to say good morning, even if you felt unsafe in the presence of an adult, right? Or having to call every adult auntie or uncle because that's just what we did, right? Or having to agenu, go on grates and kneel down if you did something that was wrong, even if that thing that you did was seamlessly harmless and it was just your emotions being big. You got disciplined for certain things. So there's no amount of teaching that can teach a white person how to empathize or even sympathize with me when it comes to that, right? I don't see it happening. So when you think about social workers not being able to get licensed in a clinical setting, or even at the master's level setting, to be able to help people in this community that they look like, it's disheartening. It's crazy. It's mind-blowing. And this test has a dramatic bias, right? And that bias impacts BIPOC, Latinx, queer, and non-gender conforming. Anyone that isn't cisgender and white, this test is problematic for. And I don't know how, as a fresh social worker, I can't be outraged, right? Although I haven't sat down for the test, although I don't know what my results will be in the test setting, but just to hear so many people so broken, and to say like, yo, if I didn't have good support in the profession, I would leave. Or if I didn't know my worth, or if I didn't have my own therapist, I would think that I was a crappy or poor social worker. That's beyond me. And to be quite honest, like, I think when you graduate as a master's level social worker, you should just become a licensed master's level social worker. Because honestly, if higher education is not able to prepare us for this exam, right? And we now have to sit and take a test and train our minds to think another way from what we just took 2 years to learn, right? That means that even when it comes to the educators, when it comes to deans and directors, when it comes to the Council for Social Work Education, everyone should be looking at the ASWB and asking them for more answers, right? Because if I just graduated and I sat for this exam, there is no reason why I should fail. None at all. None at all. None at all. Right? And although I did not fail, I did not take the exam, I know people who sat for the exam 2 weeks after graduation and failed. I know students that have been taking the practice exam and saying like, I know that I know the answer, but based on this exam, I won't pass the real thing. And that's a problem. And I really think that we need to do our due diligence, and we have to stop the ASWB. I know that there's a lot of petitions out there, and there's a lot of reach out to your local government, reach out to your local boards. If you don't know, each state has a board of social work examiners, and this board meets monthly. Reach out to your boards, reach out to your legislators. I learned something on Friday that really has caused me to think a different way. Firefighters in New York held a class action suit against their testing on board because their testing was doing the same thing. It was isolating and limiting the amount of minorities that were able to take this test and pass and become firefighters. And that's disheartening. And this is not the only profession that these licensings, are used to keep people oppressed in a way, but we have to open up our eyes. If you are in a profession and a test is required, you need to know the stats of who is passing, how they're passing, what is being done. Because if we are all going to universities that are supposed to be preparing us to help people and work with people, we should be able to pass any exam that is given to us. I have never failed a class. I have never dropped my GPA below a 3.7. So there's no way that I should not be able to go take an exam and pass it. And that's all I wanted to share, that social workers, we cannot just advocate for people. We have to advocate for ourselves. And more importantly, we need to advocate against this. Not saying to do away with testing if that is what is needed to protect the profession, but make sure that the testing that is being used and being put out there and is being implemented is one that is equal, that there is no bias, that there is no discriminatory things being taking place, and that there also isn't any systematic racist ways being implemented in that. Like I said, I've heard many times, and it's been said to me to think like a white person when I go take this test. And there's no way in hell that I'm going to think like a white person. I have been living my life for 33 years as a black woman. There's no way that I'm just going to magically, start thinking like a white woman. Do I think that we all need to prepare for this test and prepare ourselves on how to answer questions and pick apart questions to know exactly what the answer should be in a standardized test? Yes, I'm all for that. But all that whole jazz about thinking like a white person or seeing those numbers, it really did something to me. I couldn't even come to terms with what it did to me because I was that upset. And just sitting here talking about it right now, it just really is rubbing me the wrong way. So I'm going to end this video right here on a good note. If you took this test and you failed, I'm sorry. And I want to make it very clear that that score is not a reflection of you as a social worker. I'm pretty sure you're kicking butt. I'm pretty sure that you're doing great work. And I'm pretty sure the people that need you the most are so thankful that you are in this profession. And if you are a student and you are coming into this profession in the thick of this, prepare yourself for advocacy, not just for your clients, but also for yourself. And if you are a fresh social worker, or if you're an older social worker, or a seasoned social worker, and you've been in this profession and you want to see change, make sure that you are signing those petitions that are going around on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and Google and Yahoo. Make sure you're signing them. I signed one. I'm not going to stop signing them. And I might even drop it down below for you to have easy access to it. Make sure you're signing those petitions and make sure that you are reaching out to your local NASW chapters if you are members. And if you're not members, it doesn't matter. Blow them up, call them and ask them what they can do to help in this matter. I'm not going to say much, but I'm going to say this. As a social worker, if I am a member of an association, I am applying pressure and making sure that the association is working for my benefit, for my good. And I just want to say that, like, anything that you are subscribed to, make sure that it's working for your benefit and for your good, and make sure that you are getting everything you can out of it. And honestly speaking, even this profession, if you are a student, reach out to your deans and your directors and your professors and ask them, why am I not leaving this program prepared to pass this exam? Because I'm going to tell you this. When I was in Fordham, a professor surely did tell me that I have to think like a white person to pass this exam, or that this exam is not based on real social work. What does that mean? How are you licensing social workers, but the exam is not based on real social work? So guys, I'm not going to keep you any longer. But until next time, peace, love, and you are worth it. You are worth it. I can't say this enough. You are worth it. You are worth it. So let me get out of here. I hope this video is not long. If it is long, I'm posting everything on YouTube tonight because this is how I feel deep down inside. That something needs to be done, and I should not be afraid to take this test. So you are worth it. You can do hard things, and you are going to change the world.